already on my YouTube.
Okay, nice.
Nothing wrong with that, man. You will add value.
Yes, sir. Okay, let me just hook you up.
Okay. So you conquer my left head today, man.
Is that okay?
That's okay. That's what you choose.
Let's set it up. Are you hearing properly?
Yeah, nothing, not giving up.
Okay, nice. Now, let's make sure.
Eh.
Chris, let me I'll put you up on screen. If you could just give me a thumbs up as soon as you see yourself on
Yeah,
screen.
man. That's the far right. Yes, Jarastafari, give thanks definitely. As you can see, we are live here on Instagram, on YouTube, and we're just waiting to come in live with you on Foodof7 Calabash Television. I mean, definitely we give thanks for this divine opportunity. As we'll be doing some book reading today, the herbal manual book reading. So, those of you who have not officially received your copy, so now is the time. So we give thanks as we prepare ourselves to go live. We'll be having a wonderful discussion this evening. Bless the man, bless the Lord. Give thanks. You don't say hell, you hell is Lord. You say hell, hell, yeah. It's blessed Lord. Not out Lord. Give thanks. Positive vibration. Someone that is single and free. Yeah. A woman who will stand by my side. Want to bring joy and happiness in my life. A woman who will love me for me and not for vanity. God Cinderella, reveal yourself to me. Yeah. God Cinderella, I need you here with me. Yeah. I wanna hold you in my arms and give you all my charms. Like Cinderella, you are the girl for me. Yeah, I've met so many other girls before. So many wanna walk through my door. Yeah, but they never seem to have the qualities and virtues like you do. You're the one that will fit in that shoe.
Okay, Chris, you coming on now?
Yeah, and you have a power place. Well, not me and my laptop. You guys see a thing there? Probably I want to carriage.
Let me give you a longer cord.
But the conqueror love that singing from his heart there, boy.
Yes, man.
We're looking for a black Cinderella.
Sure.
Where you gonna find one? Living have a black Cinderella.
You know, sometimes they say you have to look.
Cinderella.
The best place to look for something is
inside of you.
Alright, Priest, we're coming on now. It will go.
Yeah, man, give
promote.
thanks. Yeah, yeah. Yes, Rastafari, give thanks. Definitely, we are about to go live on Calabash Television. We're going to be having a wonderful classroom session today, whereby we're going to uplift ourselves in the whole realms of education. Educate yourself, know yourself. I don't think there is really a black Cinderella. People commenting about black Cinderella there on YouTube. There's not really a black Cinderella. There is sin, S-I-N, sin. Sin there, really, yeah. Some white girl. Yes, give thanks for life and a mighty life giver. Definitely we do give thanks for this divine opportunity as we are live once more on Calabash Television, and definitely we are working towards the upliftment of ourselves as a people through education. They say through the lack of knowledge the people shall suffer. Because of the lack of knowledge people shall suffer, and plenty of times when it comes to the physical structure, there are many aspects of it that as a people we don't even really take a time and an energy to actually understand and to know how our own physical structure actually functions. So this evening we are going to continue in our education process with the whole realms of the respiratory system, because most times when you ask people about, you might ask somebody exactly where does the people will tell you, well, priest, I do breathing, I breathe, I do deep breathing and meditation, and that is something that lots of people are doing. And sometimes when you really observe how people actually breathe, then you really know that a lot of people don't really understand the full principle of what a breath really is. So the respiratory system is basically a system that that includes breathing. Breathing is one aspect of the respiratory system. The respiratory system is a very critical system when it comes to, I mean, if it is you want to see if somebody is alive, what do? You check if they're breathing. When you stop breathing, like you're dead. That's it. So if you can't breathe, then you're dead. When the cops put their legs on the neck of our brother there in America, George Floyd, he couldn't breathe. I can't breathe. I mean, when you cannot breathe, you die. And many times people just associate that level of not being able to breathe only in the realms of suffocating, but understand that there is an optimal way of breathing, a way that you could actually breathe to get optimum, just because you understand exactly what you breathe for. So if I were to ask a simple question, why do you breathe? Why do you breathe? So a lot of people would not even understand the purpose of breathing. Why do you breathe? Right? Why is it that you're breathing? So to bring air inside of me, okay, all right, then what is air? Then if you go down and you understand exactly that, people don't really fully understand the whole aspect of the science of breathing. So when they say, I do deep breathing, I say, take a deep breath, man, or take a breath, take a breather, take a breather, take a breather, relax, breathe, right? So all these different things, there are things that we're supposed to understand what the significance of these things they are. This is what actually enables us as a people to function in that higher level, but not as copycats or just following people, and then you're trying to pretend like you sit down on a sofa and you pretend like you're trying to breathe and meditate and you don't even know it, right? So breathing is one part of the respiratory system. The respiratory system is basically the system that's responsible for literally extracting energy from your food. Respiration is really extracting energy from your food. All right. So when you say about the respiratory system, it's not just about just the breathing aspect of it. Fundamentally, it's also about, look, um, how is it that you as a man or as a woman understand the fundamental principle of, okay, look, the reason that you breathe in through your nose, right, is because you want to bring in oxygen. All right, oxygen. And that oxygen is actually utilized, right, within your physical structure to burn your food. Respiration is basically the burning of your food, utilizing oxygen. So what you're doing when you're respiring or respiration is you are burning up your glucose, which is your C6H12O6. Glucose is just a sugar. Now the sugar glucose is fundamentally the simplest sugar that you could think about when it comes to the whole aspect. That's the energy molecule of your physical structure. So when your physical structure actually burns up the glucose, what it does is that it creates the energy molecule which you call ATP. Right now, ATP basically is what you refer to as adenosine triphosphate, which is the energy molecule. So the energy molecule, very important. The energy molecule is fundamentally that molecule that your physical structure can utilize to actually make you move, make you jump, make you think, make you talk, make you laugh. So if it is that you cannot breathe or you're not breathing, that basically means that you don't have the capacity to actually get energy from the food that you actually consume. And what human beings actually utilize, the food that we utilize for energy specifically, is that specific food that we refer to as sugar. And sugar is what you call glucose. 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 Or glucose, I don't know. As they would say, that I'm not really an Englishman. I'm just here. I was brought here. I wasn't really brought here into slavery. I came here. I'm following my kidnapped brothers and sisters to come and try and liberate them from the forces of tyranny. So give thanks, honorable, from wherever you are with us today. So when you understand that okay, the reason why you breathe, we're breathing in the process called respiration, whereby you are taking in oxygen, and that oxygen is being utilized specifically, right, to break down. We don't fructose sugar. You don't break down fructose sugar. Fructose is not like a simple sugar. Fructose is still compound. You understand? So if it is that you check and see what makes up fructose sugar, you'll still see that fructose sugar is not a sugar. Fruit sugar, when you break down for the physical structure, what it uses it actually uses glucose, as the currency. It doesn't use fructose as a currency. Fructose still has to be broken down into your glucose, right? To actually get its glucose, the physical structure used. And if it is that your glucose level is down, then you have what you call ketogenesis, where your physical structure begin to use what you call ketones. That's why diabetics that's develop what you call sweet breath, because they are utilizing another type of molecule fundamentally to actually consume or to produce the energy, which is the ATP. So respiration involves the utilization of oxygen, right, to break down the glucose molecule to actually get what you refer to as ATP, which is energy. Now, how is it that we are supposed to breathe? What is breathing? And how is it that air actually comes within your physical structure? Now, a lot of times, when you say take a deep breath or you say breathe in, right? When you tell somebody breathe in, take a deep breath, you see the first thing they'll do, take a deep breath, people raise up their shoulders, because people do what you call shoulder breathing or just nose breathing, right? Right. So if I take a deep breath, my shoulders would not move. You wouldn't even see like I'm trying to open up my nose wide or anything. What I'll be doing, I'll be moving what you call my diaphragm, right? Which is a muscle that separates the abdominal cavity from the thorax. Very important. So when we look at here, as a herbal manual, when you get your copy, fundamentally you would be able to actually read for yourself. All right. But on that page, herbal manual, you could see the whole aspect of inspiration and expiration. When you breathe in, it's not that you are forcing air inside of you. Breathing in, what you're doing specifically, you are specifically creating what you would call a negative pressure, right? Because your lungs are within this chamber called your thorax. Okay, so your thorax is that area within your rib cage. So your rib cage is basically a series of bones. So your ribs is bones, right? Some people they have rib cage, and you could play, and they would say, boy, they could play a music on the rib cage because they say, well, you could feel all their bones, And some people you might not even be able to feel their bones because they have so much fats on their bones, But at the end of the day, that bony structure here, I think you could play music on mine, right? That bony structure here that you have here, right, do have muscles on it, and that bony structure is what is responsible primarily for your breathing in and your breathing out. Very important. So each aspect chamber of your thorax, your left and your right. So you have your thorax has a right side and has a left side. Now the thorax cavity is basically a cavity that is enclosed. Fundamentally, that cavity is an enclosed cavity, and that enclosure is enclosed with bones called your ribs, right? And the ribs now are made up of bones and cartilage. I know most of you just eat ribs, like chicken, not chicken. Yeah, chicken have ribs too, man. Okay, some pork ribs or some lamb ribs or some cow ribs or some type of thing. I don't understand why. I mean, how people does, but anyway, they'd have to figure it out at themselves. But people do eat ribs, animals' ribs, and when you eat the ribs, you'd see that there are aspects of the ribs that would be bony, and there are aspects of the rib that would be cartilage. So the rib is not just muscle. So there's a soft part. Is that soft part of the rib that you like to chew? That part of the rib is basically the cartilage of the rib. So your thorax is made up of bones. So just like you have your chest cavity, and the central bone to the back, right? Where your spinal cord is. Okay? So the back, from your back of your neck all the way down to your waistline, to your hip bone, you have that whole column going up, all the way up. And when you get underneath your chest area to the back, you have the beginning of your ribs actually coming from that column and creating that specific chamber that traps or protects or encloses your lungs, the most vital of your organs, your lungs and your heart. So within the rib cage, you have two very important organs, your lungs and your heart. So your heart basically is what you'd call it. They say it's mediosternal because you have in the center here, in the center of your chest. That's where most people, let's say, if they say they have an open chest or something. There's a bone here called the sternum, and the sternum is one of the most sensitive bones within the physical structure. If somebody is knocked out, you could literally take your fingertip, your finger, and that aspect of your finger, and press on the sternum. It will be so painful. Or if you want somebody to actually testify or confess about something, you could press on the sternum here. That is a very painful area to actually press upon to make somebody rise up, or if you want to touch somebody for whatever reason, you might want to touch that person. When you press on the sternum, it's extremely painful. So the heart is what you call mediosternal, meaning that it is right within in the middle of the sternum, right? But it is more to your left. That's why you feel the heartbeat more to the left, because the heart is leaning to the left. But the heart is within the thoracic cavity, plus you have your left lung and your right lung within that cavity here. And apart from the bones are actually covered with muscles, right? So when you might be saying, boy, your rib cage is just bones. No, sometimes when they could play music on your ribs, that means that you have a muscular rib. It's not just bone, right? So the muscles, your ribs basically has muscles, and these muscles there is what literally, right, cause the ribs to actually move up and move down. So your ribs is not just constant, Your ribs have a upward and a downward motion. Move up, move down, move up, move down, through what you call the intercostal muscles and also the diaphragm. I know you might be saying that I am going into too much science. A lot of people don't like science, but it's about your physical structure. And I feel that, I mean, it's your fundamental responsibility and to your benefit that you understand what is your ribs and what your rib contain. How is it that your ribs actually operate? How is it that you're supposed to actually deal with yourself when it comes to even breathing? So we are telling you about your ribs and about your intercostal muscles and about your diaphragm, so you could understand exactly what happens when you breathe. So take it easy, right? It is important, right, that you understand. Well, look, that fundamental education, knowing of yourself, knowledge of yourself, understanding who you are is fundamentally important. That is why we are speaking of the respiratory system. That capacity that you understand. Well, look, the respiratory system is that fundamental system that is responsible for the utilization of oxygen to burn your glucose to get your energy molecule, which they call ATP, right? And ATP is what they refer to in the scientific realms as adenosine triphosphate. So how you get energy is when they break down, you take out one of that phosphate from the ATP and you have ADP, adenosine diphosphate, and you release energy. So if it is that I have this here, right, and I have this here, and these things there are actually connected together, and this is the ATP molecule, right? And when I release a phosphate from that molecule, it sends off energy. So energy is sometimes is like heat, right? So when you break down the ATP, what you actually get, you get energy that your physical structure actually utilize to do whatever it is that it has to do. So it's important to understand the reason that you breathe in is to take in oxygen. Why do you need oxygen? Oxygen is basically important for what you call aerobic respiration, the process of getting energy from the food that you actually consume. And why is it that you breathe out? You breathe out because you want to take out carbon dioxide. And carbon dioxide is the waste product that is created when you burn glucose to get your ATP. That's a waste product. That is why, the same way, if it is that you have a piece of paper or you have some and you burn something, you see smoke, right? So the oxygen in the atmosphere is what is utilized to burn that something, and the waste product of it is that smoke. But that smoke don't only contain carbon dioxide. It contains also carbon monoxide, which is a very toxic substance. Carbon monoxide, that's why people just kill themselves by packing themselves in a vehicle in a garage. That's what you call a slow death. Because um, the vehicle don't only emit carbon dioxide. The dangerous gas that the vehicle actually emits is what you call carbon monoxide. Now, carbon monoxide, where carbon dioxide is just CO2, right? Dioxide meaning two oxygen molecules. Carbon monoxide, mono, how many oxygen molecules do you feel carbon monoxide has? Mono, one. So carbon dioxide has two molecules of oxygen, two atoms of oxygen, and carbon monoxide has one. Now, carbon monoxide is like a waste product that is actually produced in the burning of stuff. So like when you burn um, gas or diesel, you produce carbon monoxide. Now, carbon monoxide doesn't have any smell. So people who just want to kill themselves and just want to go to sleep and don't wake up, they would pack themselves in a garage, a closed garage, or people die. Sometimes you hear some people, and I mean, you have a hurricane. Never that hurricane, and people have a generator operating in their house, and they put the generator in the house, and they turn on the generator in the house, right? And they just to have light, and they're clapping and singing that they have light, but they have the generator in the house, and then the gas coming out of the generator, carbon monoxide, actually cause them to just fall asleep and die. And they will never know that they're dying because carbon monoxide is a very tricky and a sneaky kind of gas. They have sneaky things with sneaky spirits. Now, carbon monoxide does actually compete with oxygen. So, oxygen, how your body does transport oxygen is through your hemoglobin, which is basically a protein in your blood. That's why when you go to the doctor and you want to do a test to see if it is that you are anemic, they'll test your hemoglobin. Your hem just means iron, globin just means protein. And hem is a protein that has an iron group, and that hemoglobin is responsible fundamentally for the carrying of your oxygen. So let's say this is the hemoglobin, and that is the oxygen. So the hemoglobin, the oxygen sits on the hemoglobin, and the hemoglobin carries the oxygen to your liver or to your heart. But that actually fits in a direct little spot on top of the hemoglobin. Carbon monoxide, which is CO, just carbon and oxygen combined together, fits in that exact little space that the oxygen would actually fit. So if the carbon is in that space where the oxygen is supposed to fit, will your blood be able to carry oxygen? No, right? So then what happens? Because if your blood cannot carry oxygen, what does it mean? It means that you cannot produce energy. It means that you are not respiring. So you just get tired and you get sleepy and you feel real good, You feel good, 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 good. And then the thing about it is that all your hemoglobin gets overcrowded with carbon monoxide and you just go to sleep and you just die. So people just commit suicide like that. And it's one of the least painful ways that people has used to kill themselves. Right? They just close themselves in a garage and turn on their vehicle and sometimes even block the muffler so the thing will go into the inside of the chamber of the vehicle itself, and then they find them sleeping in their vehicle. So understanding that the carbon dioxide is a waste product. I go into all that just to explain to you that the same way that your physical structure carries the oxygen, right, from outside inside to the different aspects to get the energy, a waste product that is actually produced during respiration, whereby your physical structure utilizing oxygen to burn the sugar, the glucose is carbon dioxide. The same way when you burn a piece of paper, you have smoke, right? The same way when you burn food in your physical structure, you have carbon dioxide actually being produced. And that carbon dioxide has to be removed out of your physical structure. So it is transported through the blood, back to your lungs. So comes out of the blood, goes into your lungs, and then you breathe it out. All right? So this is the process of inspiration and expiration. That's not respiration. Respiration is not just inspiring and expiring. Respiration is the breaking down of your food using oxygen to actually obtain energy. Inspiration and expiration are just components of the respiratory system. So when you breathe in, what you're doing is that you are taking in oxygen from the atmosphere, and your lungs are like chambers, like sacks, bags that are pressurized. And because it's like you have, I'm using my little, that's my icon bottle. This contains one of our products called icon. Can you? Yes, I can, and that is one of the best for the immune system. So that is like my bulletproof vest. I always have that to ensure that I am protected from all the viruses and all these different type of things. All right, so okay, so then we are looking at, let's say that this is that's a lung. All right, now the lung, I'm gonna open up the bottle. Oh, you smell that? I can. Right now, let's say this here is one lung on this side, another lung on that side. So the lung is actually completely sealed off. It is sealed, right? It is sealed off. But over the lung, all on the outside of the lungs, you have what you call blood vessels. And inside of the lung is like an empty space, and the lung has chambers, okay? Like segments. Now, imagine that if I take this bottle and I squeeze the bottle, if I squeeze the bottle, what happens to the liquid in the bottle? Huh? Huh? I didn't hear you. I didn't hear what you said. If I squeeze the bottle, what happens? Right? The liquid in the bottle will actually what will come out. Why? Because I have created a pressure, right? A negative pressure inside of the bottle. So I squeeze the bottle, the liquid come out of the bottle. If I squeeze, even if there is no liquid in the bottle and I squeeze the bottle, air is gonna come out of the bottle like a balloon. If you have a balloon and then the balloon has air and you squeeze the balloon, just like if somebody, right? We say choke the pope, or somebody say fat, or pass gas. But I mean, you're choking the pope. So when you squeeze, you see something fly out there a while ago. Some icon fly out there. Ashy, give thanks. So when it is you squeeze, you force out the liquid. So you overstand that. You create a negative pressure. So the pressure of squeezing causes things to come out. Now the same way, if it is that you open up, if you have like something plastic, and you drop a bottle, a plastic bottle, and you drop it in water, and you open it up, what happens? Water literally runs into the plastic. Why? Because you have a positive pressure. So when you squeeze, things push out. When you open up and you create space, things rush in. So that is the whole process of breathing. That's what happens when you breathe. When you are breathing, you're not breathing through your nose or through your shoulder. You don't have to do all them things. Take a deep breath. You don't have to do that at all. You don't have all them actions there is like a waste of time. You could just stay there and your shoulders don't move and you breathe in properly. Why? Because you understand that it's your rib cage that's moving, right? And then as you move your rib cage, if you move it down, it's like you created a negative pressure. You are literally, right? You move it down, right? What you're doing, you are creating a negative pressure outside and a positive pressure inside. So you are sucking air on the inside. So let me tell you what happens now. So your lungs is in a chamber, and that chamber is a pressurized chamber. Why? Because each lung is surrounded by the muscles of your ribs, the intercostal muscles. So each of them is actually surrounded by that. And then you have what you call your diaphragm, a muscle that actually separates your abdomen from your thorax. So when you're breathing in, that's why when someone is singing and they tell you when you're singing, you have to sing from, to hold a long note, you have to sing from your belly. Right? No, you have to sing from the belly. Why? Because when you're breathing out, what you are doing basically, you are sucking in your belly. Now, what is in your abdomen? In your abdomen, you have your intestine, you have your liver, you have your spleen, you have your pancreas, right? You have your gallbladder, you have plenty of things in your abdomen. Your abdomen is that area that's just above your pubic bone, your waistline, going up to right underneath your rib cage. That's your abdominal cavity. Now inside of there, to your right, you have your liver, then you have your gallbladder, you have your small intestines, large intestines, right? You have your spleen, you have your pancreas, all these things that are in your abdominal cavity. All right. Now, what separates the abdominal cavity from your thorax is basically the diaphragm, which is that big muscle. All right. And on top, yeah, you have your appendix too, right? The appendix is part of your large intestine. Give thanks. Now, right up here, when it is that you actually go right up here into what you call your thorax, inside here, you have one long hair, and each of these lungs, they have branches that comes out of them and form what you call your bronchus, and the two bronchus join together, and this you see this rubbery thing you have here, right, is what you'd call your trachea. And the trachea is what goes down to your bronchus, your left and your right bronchus, and then each of these bronchus, like tree branches, breaks down into smaller branches called your bronchioles and goes down into the matrix of your lungs. Very important. Now, when you breathe in, what you are doing basically, you are pulling down, you are literally pulling down your ribs. You pull down the ribs. So the ribs would go down like this. So if you pull down the ribs, will your belly get bigger or will your belly get smaller? If you breathe it in. Alright, you're pulling down the ribs. What will happen? You'll pull down the diaphragm, because the diaphragm is that muscle that's underneath the rib cage. And when you pull down the diaphragm, what happens is that you're pushing down the contents of your abdomen. So what is happening then is that you are basically causing your belly to get bigger. So when you breathe in, you breathe in. So when you breathe in, you push out your belly. So pushing out your belly means that you are pulling down on the diaphragm. And when you pull down on the diaphragm, you open up the lung and you force the air from the outside to rush into your lung. It's not like it's not like as if it's a work for you to breathe. That's why it's no work for you to breathe. Because it's not like you have to be there and say, I'm breathing. It's not a work like that. You don't breathe like that. The breathing action takes place within your rib cage. That's what happens. So that negative and positive pressure is actually being created. So when you take a deep breath in, what you're supposed to do is push down the diaphragm. So your belly gets bigger. And most people just breathe the opposite way. So when they breathe in, they pull in their belly. Right? But breathing in means that you push out your belly. Right? And when you breathe out, you pull in the belly. What does that do then? It puts pressure. It's like you squeeze in your lungs, because your liver, your large intestines, your small intestines, your appendix, your pancreas, your spleen, all these things, they put pressure underneath your lungs and squeezes the air out by creating this negative pressure. Whew. That's education. Okay? Yes. I used to do that. I notice I hold my breath when I'm under stress. People don't breathe when they're under stress. That's why some people, that when they upset, they because you're not breathing. I have to take a breath, man. So when you breathe, you control yourself. You go into what you call lactic acidosis. Definitely give thanks. Definitely, it's time for us to take an intercession. As you know, we are also live on Calabash Television, and we have to, as they would say, pay some bills. 7:39. Give thanks for all those of you on Instagram. Give thanks for all those of you on YouTube. Give thanks for life and a mighty life giver. As you know, we had stopped our live stream on the Wednesday because we are taking a little pause from the Calabash Foodof7 program. But now, as we are on again, definitely we are deaf on it. On the Foodof7. It's not just the food you eat, but also the food that you actually meditate on, the things that you listen to. Education, science, not difficult, man. People just lazy. Just don't be lazy and be a mosquito. You know what happens to mosquitoes? Mosquitoes get, you squash mosquitoes because they parasites. They bite you, they suck your blood, and then they still give you disease. So they have people who basically come around you, they bite you, they come and suck your energy. They take your strength, and still they give you some kind of old evil disease and thing. Squash them like the mosquito. Give thanks for all those of you. First Nana, Styles, Blessed Love, and it's Fetishan, Chrissy. Give thanks. At the love, and all those of you from Ethiopia. Lovely Ja from Ethiopia, Trinidad, California. Give thanks for all Georgia. All those of you in our YouTube channel with us. Definitely we do give thanks. We'll take an intercession when you come again. Definitely we'll continue. Bless the Lord. It's intercession on Calabash, but it's not intercession for you. So I'm gonna take a short tea. Love from Somalia. You see, it's nothing bad in. I mean, if you know what you, everyone. I mean, if you want your own, you know what I'll do. I think I will create something. So for the people who might want to have their own icon and their own answer, I'll have to get some of these there and probably put your name on it and put your answer and your things on it and make sure that your immune system step up. So when you see, I take my shot, I take my sip of my icon. Right, definitely, that it's good vibes. We call them things like ugly face medicine because when you take it, you have to literally make yourself ugly with, because I mean, definitely it shakes up your physical structure and makes every ugly thing come out. Give thanks. You see, now I'm no longer ugly. So it's an ugly face medicine for the time. Give thanks from Somalia, Nana Styles. Give thanks from the East, Rastafari. So remember, all that information is right here in the herbal manual. Get your copy. Oh, I feel a heat on the inside. So all that is there on the inside, respiration. So at least you have the full comprehension of what we are talking about. When you come again after the intercession, I think that I don't know whether I'll do an hour and a half today. I think I'll only do an hour today. Yeah. What time is it now? Okay, we'll see how it goes. You know how it is when you people start going. Yes, Rat Tucker. Give thanks, brother. Jalif, oneness. Rastafari. Give thanks for life. So definitely give thanks for all those of you who are with us. We're going to invite you to just, if you want to say something, we could join you. We could ask you to join the live shortly. For those people on YouTube, you could type, but the people on Instagram, we're not taking no type questions from you. You have to join the live. You can't be hiding in the darkness, and Instagram might be on your phone. Some people have some strong fingers, when they type in. Yeah, they have to express themselves. They hide. We'll be taking questions shortly, so just set yourself so that you could join in. So if you have to go and put on your make down or your makeup, and you could do that, so at least you could come and join us and bless us up and give us some love, and all them yellow faces and them things that you're sending. But you show your own face. If when you get up in the morning, you really look like a yellow face, I wonder what you're going to do. People are like, I never use any of them yellow face to represent me. I say, my face not so yellow, for sure. Yes, give thanks for Life and a Mighty Life giveaway again on live on Calabash Television in St. Lucia. Give thanks for all those people here, the Foodof7. We've been here for probably almost 7 years, man. Give thanks, Calabash, for a long-term relationship. We never had a one-night stand. We've been doing this for a long time, and give thanks for that long-term relationship and for that love from my brethren, my technician Ronald, who've been there with me from the beginning. Calabash Television. Give thanks. So here is the herbal manual. What I'm gonna do, I'm just gonna read a little something from the herbal manual for you, and for those of you who, presently we are working on the revised edition of the herbal manual, and this is going to be like a relic. So if you don't have one yet, I think everybody has one already, right? So if you don't have one yet, then that means that something wrong with you. All these years. And then you don't get something to uplift yourself and to ensure that you actually could read. Some people don't even read, all they read is their WhatsApps. Yeah, they don't even read WhatsApp. All they send the voice notes because they don't have the time to read and type. But if people were reading WhatsApp, probably they'd have been a lot better. Okay, so the respiratory system. The central respiratory organs is the lungs. The respiratory system includes also the passageway between the nose and the lungs, the pharynx, larynx, epiglottis, trachea, and bronchi. The ribs, the intercostal muscles, the diaphragm, the abdominal muscles, and the nerve that innervates these muscles also play a crucial role in respiration. So all your abdominal muscles, what you call your 6 pack, or your 2 pack, or your 1 pack. Some people only want 1 pack they have, just in one thing. But some people do have 2 or 3 or 4. But underneath the 1 pack, there is still a 6 pack. The muscle is there. All you have to do is just to take out that abdominal fat. And the abdominal fat doesn't necessarily mean that you eat a lot, sometimes you stress. Right? So all the fat that rests around here, most of it is from estrogen dominance, too much estrogen. That's why when after a woman may have a child, she have what you call belly fat, because during pregnancy her estrogen level is much higher than normal. So people who are continually stressed, they literally get a big belly. Never know that stress give you a big belly? Now you know. All right, so respiration is the process of taking in oxygen and giving out carbon dioxide. The exchange of oxygen and carbon dioxide within the lungs is called external respiration. The exchange that occurs between circulating blood and the cells of the physical structure is known as internal respiration. So you have external respiration and you have internal respiration. That's interesting. So external is when the oxygen and the carbon dioxide within the lungs. Oh, so that's within the lungs. Okay. And then external is and internal is in the blood. All right. Okay, give thanks. You see, I am learning something from a book I wrote, You see, sometimes you're never too old to learn, and sometimes you learn something already, and even I have to read my own book a bit more. Upon breathing in, the blood picks up from the capillaries of the lungs the oxygen that the tissue needs. The capillaries are thin blood vessels that surround the alveoli. So when you breathe in, right, and the air is actually inside of your lungs. Your lungs literally contains, like, if you look at, if you understand, like you have a bundle of grapes, okay? So a bundle of grapes have different little fruits. The grapes are guineps, so like a guinea or grape or aki as they call it. So you have grape, and you have all the grape is attached to a stem, and that one stem, so you could hold that one stem of the grapes, and you have all these grapes attached to it. Now, let's say all these grapes, they are little what you call alveolus, and the alveolus are what you refer to as your airbags. So when you breathe in, the air goes into these little airbags, like each of the grapes, the air goes into them. And around each of these grapes, you have what you call blood vessels called capillaries. Thin, very fine. 1 cell thick blood vessels. Right? So when you breathe in and the air goes into each of these grapes, it literally, the oxygen goes into the blood via these very fine vessels. Right? And it goes into the blood, then into your heart, and your heart pumps it throughout your physical structure. Now, the same way now, the carbon dioxide that is in the blood, because when the blood gets to your calf, you're running, and your calf needs some oxygen because it needs energy because you're running. Boom, boom, boom. So you take a deep breath. The blood actually, the oxygen goes into your lungs, goes into the alveolus, gets into the blood. The blood goes into your heart. Right? Your heart pumps the blood down to your calf that contains the oxygen. Oh, your calf gets the oxygen, so it burns the glucose, so you get energy, so your calf could actually be working. But as your calf burns the glucose to get the energy, it produces carbon dioxide. So that same carbon dioxide now gets into the blood and goes up from the calf, goes into your thigh, goes through the abdomen, go through all the network of vessels, they call the veins, then goes into the lungs, and the lungs goes into the heart, and the heart, the right chamber of the heart, pumps it to the lungs again, and the lungs now, so the blood goes into the lung, goes into these vessels that's around each of these grapes. It's full of carbon dioxide. The carbon dioxide goes into the lungs, and then oxygen goes into the blood, and you breathe out carbon dioxide. All right? So it's a continual process whereby the oxygen from the outside gets into the blood, and the carbon dioxide that is made as a process of you utilizing oxygen, right, to break down, right, your glucose. Basically, what happens is that you are what they would say respiring internally and externally. So you have internal and external. I just learned that a while ago. You see, I used it already. When you learn something, use it fast. Don't make people make you feel like I just learned that from the herbal manual, a book I wrote. Imagine that. Yeah, so continuing reading. The oxygen is carried throughout the blood in the red blood cells. We spoke about the red blood cells carrying the oxygen via what you'd call your what you call that again? What carries the oxygen? I didn't hear you. Okay, all right, yeah, the hemoglobin. So the hemoglobin literally carries the oxygen. I think we signed out a while ago, but we back again. Right, so the oxygen is carried through hemoglobin, and also we understood that people just commit suicide by sitting down in vehicles because the carbon monoxide actually is also carried by the hemoglobin, and then that could actually kill you, give you a nice calm death. People just do these things. I'm not saying to go and do that, you know. That's one of the worst acts somebody could actually perpetuate is actually taking their lives. Oxygen is essential for aerobic respiration, the use of oxygen to obtain energy from glucose. First, the better one breathes, the more efficiently they burn the calories. So when you breathe, if you breathe very well, you could just lose weight by just doing deep breathing. You don't have to go and do the whole heap of thing, you know, just then you breathe in properly. Right? So you could lose weight by breathing properly, trust me. Right? So there's a diagram here. Not a diagram because nobody is dying by a gram. Probably living gram. Okay, so this here demonstrates what happens with the intercostal muscles and the lungs and everything when you breathe in and when you breathe out. So I'm going to read that for you. During inspiration, the diaphragm is pushed down and the abdomen pushed down and out. So your belly gets bigger when you breathe in. And the internal pressure decreases, forcing air into the lungs. Now, you know when you're trying to put a tight jeans on you and you have to pull in your belly? That's what you have to do when you're breathing out. So when you're trying to tuck that jeans on, you understand? Some people, after they put their jeans, their belly literally hang over it. So you could imagine how much they have to pull to put that jeans on. You know anyway, we won't go into that. So when you pull in your belly, that's what expiration is. You pull it tight, that means that you forcing the content of your belly underneath your thorax, underneath air, and you're pushing out the air. So when you take a deep breath in, you literally push out your belly. You breathe out. You pull in your belly. Breathe in, out. Right? So it might look simple for me and difficult for you because you've been breathing wrong your whole life. So if you breathe in wrong, that means you're living wrong. All right. So during expiration, the diaphragm is pushed up, abdomen pulled up and in, and the rib cage pulled in. This results in an increase in pressure in the lungs, first forcing air out of the lungs. So it's not a hard work thing that you have to do. It is just understanding exactly what is it that you have to do. All right. So it's talking about asthma and them type of things there. I'm not going to read that right now. Give thanks. So the herbal manual, you can get your own copy. There are herbs for the respiratory system. Wow, some beautiful herbs there. That herb there is good for the respiratory system. I never knew that. I'm not going to read it, you know. You have to get your copy to actually find out which herbs they are. I'm still going to tell you. I'll tell you just now. So we understand exactly what it is that we're talking about when we talk about the respiratory system, when we're talking about the whole REM service. Not just about breathing in and breathing out, but why you breathe in and why you breathe out, because you need the oxygen. And why you need the oxygen, right? The oxygen is basically utilized to burn your glucose to create energy, right? So give thanks for life. So definitely now what I would do, I'd open up the lines that on Calabash if anybody wants to give us a call, because what we're going to do, we're just going to take about to another little bit of time. Right now we are 6 minutes before the hour of 8 o'clock. And I think that we take an intercession a little after 8 because we went a little bit into the 7:40-ish time. So we take in at that time, and then I don't know, or we'll just call it a night based upon what you Calabash Shans do. Those people on Calabash television, you know how it is that, I've spoken, I lecture there for almost a whole hour there already. Right now is the time for you to actually come and contribute and say something. And some people say, but Priscilla, we watching your thing. Some people say, but Priscilla, watch you every day, watching you. I say, but I'm not on the TV every day. How can you be watching me every day? right? And I'm not on the TV every day, so it's not like you're watching me every day. I'm there on Sundays and on Tuesdays, right? So I am not there every day. So when you see me, don't tell me you're watching me every day. Now is the time that you could come and call and make a contribution, say something. And if it is that you want anything to say on Instagram, definitely you could actually join a live. And those people on YouTube, you could type. How important is CoQ10 Q10 in producing ATP? Well, that's a hard question. Well, this man there must be some kind of a high man there, man. The man asked me a high question there, right? These there are basically what you call coenzymes. Coenzymes is basically important enzymes in the metabolic process. So definitely this has to be present to actually make everything actually fulfill itself to the highest order. Question: after you revise the herbal manual, we will not be able to get the older version. No, that's why I say it's a relic. So you have to. I only have probably about one box. Do we have one box remaining? Probably about that. Yeah. So we only have a few remaining of this herbal manual, so you could try and get your copy, definitely. And it's not just about it's a herbal manual, but we took a time out basically to educate you about how your physical structure functions, because we find it important that you know how your body functions. So even if you have herbs like your stinging nettle and so, right? So sensitiva, right? So even if you have herbs, the herb is just one of the aspects of the herbal manual. Remember, we are focusing on the respiratory system. I'm seeing questions and all type of things. I'm not gonna answer these questions. I'm only taking in questions on respiratory system. All right, so let us say something on the respiratory system. The lines are open up. 1758451939 or 75845311730. So you know that you won't hear when somebody call, you won't hear, because I'll be hearing in my ears. So what I might try to do Instagram and YouTube, I might be able to repeat the questions for you. So we have 4519349 and 4531730. That's the numbers that you have to call to reason with us. It's up to you whether we go until 8 or whether we close up early. It's up to you. I think that I give a lot of information there already. I'm satisfied. I'm contented with myself. I've done good. The only thing I have not given you there is one or two herbs to actually for the respiratory system. But you could ask that question, and you could come and ask it, or call and ask it. Yes, Honorable.
My lord. Yes.
I bless, man. Honorable Prophet and Court. What is it, man?
Everything I agree, man.
But I mean, what time, it's supposed to be what time in England now? What time? So it's 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 1 in the morning. Give thanks. How are you, man?
Yeah, I agree, man.
We're talking of the respiratory system.
Respiratory system. So, bitter herbs.
Bitter herbs. Come on, man. Expound on the thing for us, man.
Well, bitter herbs are usually recommended for the respiratory system. You could explain that more. From my knowledge, bitter herbs work well with the respiratory system.
Name some of them, man. Please.
Like wormwood, use aloe vera, very good as well. Mullein has a kind of bitter taste as well to it.
You have lots of mullein in London, eh?
Yeah, lots.
Yeah.
Loads.
Yeah, bring down some mullein seeds for me now when you come in, man. I need some of the British mullein seed and probably two. Oh my, I'm putting immigration on you there anyway. You know how them people they have to their seeds. But anyway, and 2 sticks of the British elderberry, the British elderberry. Yeah, right.
Actually, today I black elderberry. That's not real mixed. It's a purple, bears like a purple flower, a purple leaf. The same leaf structure, but that's a different color. The leaf is a more purple. They say.
Yeah, but you know that elderberry is one of the toughest herb for the respiratory system. You know that in Saint Lucia, well we call it Laflette Isiwo, you know, and that is one of the herbs that everybody have around supposed to have around their house. But if you don't have it around your house, then that means that you have a problem, you know, because growing up that was around everyone's house. You know, I know we had about a couple of trees up in the hills in Library. You know, even by my house, I have probably just by my house I have about one, two in front of my house, and then down on the farm I have probably about a good 10 or 11 elderberry trees just growing because it is that self even for during when the first corona when corona just reached St. Lucia, you know, and my children, you know, got cough and thing, and you know, from time them things are rich, you know, is the flower of the elderberry. That's the master to break fever and to stop persistent cough. That is a grandmaster. You know, from my personal experience, I would say, yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, the elderberry. And the strange thing about the elderberry is most elderberry you find around here is around the graveyard.
On graveyard.
Yeah, because it's a tradition in Europe. Like when someone died, put a piece of elderberry swab into the grave, and if the elderberry lives, that means the person's soul lives on. So that's a little European history there.
Oh, give thanks, my honorable brethren. Well, give thanks for that, man. Definitely. We know that the eye will be coming in for the Rising of the Gods retreat coming up in Saint Lucia, and this is like they say, well, Father's Day coming up soon, you know. You know, and for those people who say Father's Day is every day, Father's Day is not every day. There's just one day that they say that they're celebrating the Father, you know. So, you know, I'm a father, you know. I'm a father of many children. You know, I give thanks. You know, so at the end of the day, we are in the month of the man, and Rising of the Gods retreat is a time whereby man will be coming together to uplift themselves and spend time and actually, you know, plan a way forward that we as a people could better our circumstances. So we're looking forward to see the eye. As we know, well, you will be the chief therapist there, and make sure you bring your acupuncture needle and your moxa and them things there, and your hands. As I tell people that you have the best hands I've ever seen, and the type of, I remember when we were taking care of this elder from what's it, what am I from Black Bay, from Labry.
Yeah.
You know, remember that man there? Nat?
Oh yeah.
Yeah. And the man feet was just, you know,
Black.
big and black, and how you bring that down and every day and poultices and massaging. And today you work with West Indies cricket team and all them things there. Remember I used to tell you have the best hands? You all ever believe that, man? You believe that? So give thanks for your growth and your progress, honorable. That your talents are utilized on the international scale, and you know, and that you're taking a time out from your work in England and coming down and spend a little time with us in St. Lucia. Anything else you have to say?
Quite, you know, I just looking at the comments, some people were asking about bitter herbs. What are the bitter herbs? There are many bitter herbs, to be honest. It depends. I mean, bitter herbs locally, you're being more specific. Bitter herbs.
Just give them some.
You got bitter herbs. You got cascara, sadara. You got Pudaco.
Name.
You got wormwood. You got neem.
Is the wormwood that they call, you know the yarrow plant. You know our Caribbean yarrow. But then you're breaking up, you know, you in England and you do have I thought they had thing there, you know, they had I call that there in the thing that they say that they You don't have them that thing already, like 5G. You have 5G. You breaking up. You supposed to have 5G, man.
Oh no, man, to be honest, the Wi-Fi here don't be the best, you know. Sometimes it good, sometimes not good, you know.
Well,
You
give
ask,
thanks. Give
you
thanks.
ask me about, you ask me if I have a herb, or do you ask me if I have?
Yeah.
What herb was it?
Well, I mean, the best herb for the long is marijuana. I mean, people, it's not something that's
Yeah,
no big secret. The number one is cannabis, ganja.
yeah,
You know, I mean, hands down. You know, knockout. You know, so
yeah. We don't go.
without a doubt. And also, the leaf of life,
Yeah, leaf of life.
the love bush. You know, and
Yes.
yeah.
And that bush called Christmas bush. I can't remember the thing there, but you call it Christmas bush. It grows on the side of the road. Excellent for your lungs.
Give thanks, man.
Yeah, so
All right, my lord. Give thanks for the moment. Heart of love.
yes. Well,
Blessed. Rastafari. Yes, give thanks for our brethren from calling from the United Kingdom. They join us on Instagram. I mean, I'm sure they have a little mic bite, so I sure you send people who hear the thing there and they're quiet and the thing they're sucking in the information. Remember what we said, you have to contribute, you have to take a time out and contribute in your own evolution. And we're not talking about revolution. Revolution is complete change. Sometimes you change for the worse, you talk about evolution where you actually evolve, you become better of a better state, in a better state, of a better state. So if anyone else have anything more to say, definitely they could join us. Remember, the herbal manual here is available on akimpierre.com. Akimpierre.com. Right? If you buy it on prescalash.com, it might be a bit more, the shipping is a bit more costly, but you could get it on akimpierre.com. And also those of you in St. Lucia, definitely, you have to come into Liberty on Jeremy Street. Peace, I'm from Tanzania. I did not, one second, the Tanzania brethren. I did not have asthma until I moved to the US. What can you, okay. Well, asthma is one of the worst things of the respiratory system, and basically, to combat asthma is a condition, mucus building, so avoid all dairy products, all cheese, milk, cheese, milk, cheese, milk, cheese, milk, chocolate, ice cream, yogurt, her gut, his gut, their gut, everybody's gut. You have to avoid it. Definitely, anything with dairy, you have to avoid that. Right? Basically, fried foods. Then you utilize. I would tell people to drink the cannabis green juice, the green juice, right? The green juice, the cannabis green juice. Also, a tincture. You see that the icon tincture? That here is a master for the for asthma and them type of things. So, and if it is that you from Tanzania and the air is so bad in America, it gets you sick. Better you just come out and go forward to Tanzania. I want to go to Tanzania, and spend a time there for sure. So if you have bad air in America, right, go to Tanzania. Yes, what is your email? Email is info@prescalash.com, info@prescalash.com. Blessed love at prescalash.com, but info priestKailash.com. You have that, right? Okay, I know you have it. Okay, I'm gonna type it for you. See how much I love you? Oh, I love the I. I'm typing that for you, taking my time and type one letter by letter with love. Alright, so those of you who might have anything to say, can you answer? No, I'm not answering questions. You have to join the live. I'm not answering type questions on Instagram. Join the live, and then definitely what's gonna happen, we're going to allow you to speak and utter your question. Okay, so honorable is at my no, so you could say at prescalash.com also. Yes, could you please send the website for the book? The website for the book is AKEEMPIERE.com, akimpierre.com. All right. Yes. Yes. Yes.
Hello, greetings to the respect.
Yes, brother. I think you're breaking up there. You know. Well, not you. I mean, your signal is breaking up.
You know what, I mean, I love your story, I love your things, and we are all together working your still every day, man.
Well, I think I'm getting the gist of what you're saying, but like your signal is very bad.
Movement, we are feeling in Africa.
You have okay.
So, yeah, we are in Africa, man.
Give thanks. What country you contacting from?
Now, right now, me and Tunisia, man.
Where?
Tunisia, man, North Africa, man.
Oh, Tunisia.
Yeah, Tunisia, North Africa. Me know from Nigeria, me to Biafra land.
Oh, give thanks, man, for the love, man. Give thanks for our brethren from Africa, man. Rastafari. Give thanks for the man and them. Tell us how you doing now? Everything blessed?
Yeah, bless you, sir. So me, I ask one question. Question goes to the women, you know. There are a lot of women in Africa. They eat nothing like fruit, you know. They take
Your signal very bad, brethren.
something like a Western problem in the hospital. Also, they used to take hips. Something like they used to take the herbal drugs, you know, they say that, you know, it's not good for them. The normal medicine produced by the chemical. So I want to ask why this all about?
Give thanks. I'll answer your question. So you could sign out here because your signal is I think this is just yeah, and we'll answer. Just think because you have a little feedback. So you could sign out and then you'll listen out. You have another caller. Send the caller through for me, honorable.
Yeah.
Love. Ronald, I'm not hiding. Yeah, you can switch off, brother. Switch off Integra. Switch off. Yeah. Huh? Go ahead, sister. Well, I mean, when your heart is enlarged, people have had this enlarged for all type of reasons. People have this enlarged because of anemia, probably because of potassium deficiencies. People just have enlarged heart because of congestive heart failure. People just have it for all type of reasons. So we need to know what reason your heart is enlarged for. If you have high blood pressure, diabetes, or any of these type of things there.
Yeah, man.
Okay, all right.
Like me, my family, like.
All right, so definitely we give thanks. So when your heart is so enlarged, basically you have just to take it easy and make sure that you eat lots of potassium rich foods, which includes banana, includes stinging nettle, you know, includes a herb they call heartwort, you know, things like amaranth, what they call their zapina and these things there. Do some mild, gentle exercise. Make sure you have a lot of iron in your blood, you know. So, like what they call a red raspberry leaf tea, that's very rich to infuse iron in your blood, van, all them different type of things there. These things there are very important when it comes to um, balancing when it comes to your heart. But we have a product called Circle Early and also Pure Gold. These two products, go at Livity and get them, they'll assist you profoundly. Okay, mama? You're welcome, love. Bam. Yeah, so give thanks, YouTube. I mean, definitely it's 15 past and we just getting to sign off. Give thanks for our Instagram people and that feedback there was horrible. So all those people there on YouTube, give thanks for all those of you who have been with us tonight. Let me just give you a speaker louder, please. I tell me speaker louder and thing. right? But maybe you should get a Bluetooth and thing. And you know how loud I speak for today already. You're not even saying give thanks for how you speak, priest, but can you please speak a little louder? You just not even saying blessed love, priest, or give thanks for life, please, or something. Just speak a little louder, priest. You have to show me more love than that. Come on. Yeah, so if it is that, okay, dates are rich in potassium also. Blessed love, honorable, give thanks for life, blessed love. So those of you who want to send up a blessing, give the blessing, send the blessing. Let us just bless you up. Definitely. Yeah, bay leaves are good for the respiratory system. It's good for the circulatory system. Mullein is also good for the blood. It's amazing that people trust the pharmaceuticals more than naturals. Well, I mean, they invest a lot of money in advertisements and all type of things. They have the money, man. So when people like yourself start to make the money, or we start to organize, and we could actually use the money for upful and positive things and make the world a better place. Yes, Andre Murray. Yes, I. So any other questions on YouTube, as Instagram is now out of it? Give thanks definitely as we are closing off. If there is anybody else on Calabash Television who have another question, you are free to ask. That's it? No questions? Okay then. Well, so give thanks definitely for all those of you who have been with us this evening. Give thanks for life and a mighty life giver. Give thanks for this divine opportunity that we share together. Give thanks for all my faithful YouTube followers, who are always there with I and I. Andre, Valerie, Nicolem, Murphy, William, Michelle, Dignity of Dasalam, True Sky, Louise, Uriah, Annie, Goddess Lovely, Humphrey Regis, Rain, Jubilee Bless, Deep Rooted Canals, Gertrude, Michelle, DJ Elmo, Empress Edith. Empress Edith, you know who gave me that flask? My virgin had gave me that flask, Empress Edith. You know who gave me that flask? That's my icon flask from my brethren. Also, I'm gonna put the rest of my elixirs in it. I mean, every man should have a flask. I mean, not a flask of not whiskey and them things, poisonous thing. Good stuff. Good in your copper. Excellent for the immune system. Yes, Empress Edith. Eddie, give thanks. Juliet, Valerie, Opalen, Irenaeus, give thanks. Toronto Massive, give thanks. Lana Mella, Gertrude, give thanks. Corey Edwards, give thanks for everyone that is with us this evening and was with us. That's not a whiskey bottle, brethren. Why are you calling anything whiskey? You say a whiskey bottle. It's not a. It's not a bottle. It's not a bottle. It's not a whiskey bottle. It's just a flask. Okay. So give thanks for all those of you that's with us, and give thanks for life and a mighty life giver. Love from Barbados. Love to Barbados. Also give thanks for all you beloved people who have been with us all the time. And remember, we spoke of the respiratory system. Ensure that you understand what's good for yourself. And Honorable Brother Nkoyo, who is going to be the chief therapist at the Rising of the Gods retreat, he came and he gave us some great insight on some specific herbs for the respiratory system. So definitely remember how to breathe in, push out your belly, breathe out, pull in your belly, breathe in, push in your belly, breathe out. Is that it? You see, you already saying yes and I saying the wrong thing. You haven't strengthened me. Breathe in, you push out your belly. Breathe out, you pull in your belly. Okay? Out, in, out. Out, in, out. Out, in, out. Out, in, out. So when you breathe in, your belly gets big. Breathe out, belly gets small. In, out. And you don't have to shift your shoulders. Not like you breathe in deep. Take a deep breath. No. Okay? So give thanks again, beloved. All heart of love,